Holidays are coming round now. Winter is here. My favorite time of the year. I could get close to my dear, my baby. I could feel a breeze coming through. I could see me and you cuddled up underneath the mistletoe. Anything.
So I was watching my Vlogmas day 3 over again just to like be sure that, I don't know, it looked good. Anyways, welcome to the vlog. Hi, I am Zoe. Welcome back. This is Vlogmas day 4, and the very important thing that is happening today is that it is Jin of BTS's birthday. He released a song about fish today, so we are going to watch that for the first time together. If you're participating in Vlogmas, how's it going for you? Or if you're just having fun watching Vlogmas, who are you watching? I feel like Vlogmas is literally like the time when I find the most people to subscribe to. Hang on, let me clear out my watch later. I usually put all of the videos that I want to watch in my watch later, which is the point of a watch later, but like I was just letting you know for if you didn't know. Oh, she's gonna read The Jade City. Mel reads. Do you watch Mel reads? I love Mel reads. She's so pretty to watch. So many people did Friendsgiving. I wish I had some friends to do Friendsgiving with. I would have done that. Maybe next year, maybe in 2022, I will have friends to be able to be like, let's do Friendsgiving. I also like Sydney Page books. Let's watch Jin's video. And like, I never actually filmed from this angle. It's actually not that bad. I think the lighting is like pretty good for me. That was the cutest thing I've ever watched in my life. Like, what? No, he really dead ass made a song about fish. That was a masterpiece. That was beautiful. Let me comment. Animal Crossing. I'm definitely gonna play the song when I fish in Animal Crossing. Hopefully it will bring me luck. He did do a birthday live. I was completely knocked out when that happened, which is normal. What time did he do it at? Because aren't they still in the US? So 6 hours ago? What time was that? Like 6 a.m. And I'm gonna start watching some Vlogmas, and then I'm gonna get my face ready. And then we are going to do my November wrap up. In the month of November, I read 8 books. I will put chapters at the bottom. So if you do not want to hear about a book, you can completely skip over it, and you are in charge of your experience. We are just here to have a good time. There will be spoilers. Dial A for aunties. Oh my gosh. I have to say, I enjoyed this book a lot more than I thought I would, and it was totally worth the wait for the audiobook through Libby. I loved the narrator. She was the perfect balance of like fun, quirky, and like serious. I just loved her approach towards the character, and I could really feel like they were a real person. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I could just visualize everything, and they just did such a good job. So narrator was A+. The beginning was a bit confusing, I'm not gonna lie. I just thought there were just too many elements coming into the story that just didn't pan out as well as I think they should have. It going back and forth between like present and then the past. The past chapters were looking at this relationship that our main protagonist had with this guy who was like her meant to be. He was like the guy. That was fine and good, but in the beginning it just didn't make sense why we were getting those flashback chapters, especially like back and forth with the present day ones, because I don't know, something about it just didn't make sense to me. The setup of the back and forth. We're talking about a murder. Then we have like a curse going on, which is the reason why she's not with the first guy. I'm like, okay. It's also adding on the rekindling romance thing, and it just just trust me, it felt like a lot. It was just a little confusing, but eventually we reached this sweet spot in the story where it just kind of doesn't even matter, and everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but I didn't hate it like I did Save the Date. Save the Date is a book, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, that I didn't like, and then Dial A for Aunties is a book of everything that could go wrong did go wrong, that I liked. And it won't make sense to everybody, but it makes sense to me, and that's all you need to know. Either way, I gave Dial A for Aunties 4 stars. I did enjoy this. I definitely am going to read the sequel because I'm like, what the hell else could go on for there to be a sequel? Violent Delights, I listened to the audiobook for this one also. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling taking place in Shanghai, China in the 1920s. I thought this book was so boring when I first started reading it back in August. The book ended up being so good, and I think maybe because I was doing something else while I was listening to the audiobook, I really was able to focus on what the book was saying, but it was so amazing and I really enjoyed it, and I kind of really am excited to read the sequel to it, which I didn't know was coming out in November, but you know, my mind. I thought the ending was really good. I gave it 4 stars though because I didn't really love the beginning of it, so I felt like 4 stars was probably better. Whitewater Terror, which was a Nancy Drew Files story, I gave it 4 stars. It's Nancy Drew. I really enjoy the Nancy Drew stories. I think that Nancy is just so funny, and I don't really take it that seriously, so I think that's also why I really enjoy it. Like, I go into it ready to have a good time, ready to read the mess, ready for everything. So me giving this 4 stars is purely based on enjoyment. Laura Olympics, this is a webtoon that has been turned into a physical graphic novel, and I'm pretty sure it's a graphic novel, isn't it? I love this webtoon so much I actually bought coins on webtoon so that I can read chapters ahead of time. It's a retelling about Hades and Persephone. Is that how you say it? I've never actually heard it said, so I apologize if I said that wrong. It has all of the characters from Greek mythology also in there, like the whole family's there. Really long story though, so I have no idea how many books are going to end up being pushed out for this in the end, but I will buy every single one of them. You've Reached Sam, which is an arc that I was able to get through NetGalley. This story was so sad. It's about a boy named Sam who unfortunately passes away in high school, and it's taking place a few weeks after his passing, and I think even a few weeks after his funeral, so maybe it's like a month later. It's following his girlfriend. Oh my god, what is her name? I can't remember her name, but it's following his girlfriend as she is continuing to grieve his death. Well, the girlfriend, she ends up calling Sam's phone number, his old phone, and he picks up. So she's able to continue to have conversations with him after he has already passed, and it's kind of supposed to help her ease into her grief and acceptance, and they kind of go through the ups and downs, and it was like so insanely sad but also so interesting. The story does not go into the whole why or how of it all, so it's very much just leaving you to just be kind of ended the story, and it felt like this ending was also very abrupt. Left us with this 1 paragraph epilogue, and I was just like, huh? Boss, which is a like spicy romance. We work for this guy as his personal assistant, and they kind of have this weird like sexual tension, and he like kind of is like her savior, like he's always there to save the day for her, kind of. And the story literally just ends when they finally do it in his kitchen, which, yeah, there's like a long story of stuff in between there, but like I gave The Boss 4 stars just because it was nice enough. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was annoying. Every single time her family would say something, I would be sitting here like, you know what? I might have to slap you. Like, if it was me, someone would get hit. And that's what I was saying. And so I was just like, my enjoyment. I was really into this book. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I read the graphic novel for Babysitter's Club, Christie's Great Idea. I love the Babysitter's Club. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to go to the library and rent the VHSs from the live action show. Back in the 90s, there was a live action show, or was it early 2000s? No, it was 90s, definitely. I also had books, and I think I owned a few. I don't think I owned all of them, but I owned a few. They also have a show on Netflix. If you haven't checked it out, it's so adorable. I love all the girls. They have the best aesthetics. I didn't really love the graphic style for it, and the dialogue felt like it was like literally verbatim what the show was, so it was just kind of like not fun for me to read because it was just too close. And the last book that I read was Blood and Honey from the Serpent and Dove series. I have been needing to finish the series for the longest time and get caught up. I listened to the audiobook, but let me tell you, the guy who did I don't know what his name is. I'm going with Reed, everyone. So the guy who was doing Reed's voice, I hated his voice. It just did not fulfill what I would ever in my mind think Reed's voice sounded like, and I think that hurt my enjoyment of the story. By halfway through, I was already also being turned off by the voice of the female narrator, and so I was just not having the best experience with this, but I was determined to finish it. It was split into parts, so there was like part 1, part 2 was like this big chunk in the middle, and then there was part 3, which was the ending. And part 2 was just a blur. I really don't remember a lot of it that was happening because I was just kind of like, what? Oh my gosh, wait. I can't believe I just went on a rant about all of that irrelevant stuff when the most important thing that I hated about this book was right in front of me. So the reason why this book ended up getting 3 stars is because there was literally no recap in this book. I have never experienced the amount of blanking out that I did with this story. There was no recap. You know how like I know in Harry Potter they do it, and like at the beginning it's like, Harry Potter, his parents passed away, like he used to live in a cupboard under the thing, but his whatever, you know how they do the recaps, and then they'll do like a recap of what happened in 4th year or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? There were 0 recaps. This thing literally picks up right the millisecond the last book ended. The millisecond where it ended. And I have no idea what happened in the first book. I could not remember one damn thing. And the way that they were going on, like literally mid-conversation, you just get burst right back into the story, and I'm just like, what happened in the last book? Literally on Goodreads there are people who had like warning, reread Serpent and Dove before you go into this book because there are no recaps. And I was like, if I would have known, I would have planned to reread Serpent and Dove before I started Blood and Honey. I didn't know, and I think that is the biggest crime that this book has done, and it lost a whole star because of the disrespect. I am one of the few hundred people who actually liked the first book. Trust me, when I saw that there were people even on TikTok who despise Serpent and Dove, it gets put on their shit list, and I was like, damn, what did I read? Because I actually liked the story and I was recommended it to people, but now I'm like, is something wrong with me? Am I the drama? Originally this series was supposed to be a duology, Serpent and Dove, and I guess it probably still would have been called Blood and Honey, and maybe that's what we should have left it with, because I feel like there was just a lot of information in this book that did not need to be there. Like I said, part 2 just felt long-winded, and they were constantly separated. I felt like the miscommunications happening between Reed and Lou. Now her name I remember. They were never together, hardly ever, and if they were having some type of miscommunication, or something was happening, or we had a short moment where they were like good and then it was just weird. But it felt so unnecessary, especially considering what I feel like I remember happened in Serpent and Dove and where we left things with that. After all of that, that is my November wrap up. Today is Jin from BTS's birthday. So I am going to tell you all of the songs by him that you need to listen to. I think my favorite is definitely Abyss, and I also love Epiphany. I also really love Yours. That's an OST song. It just came out recently. But anyways, you should check out Jin because he puts out amazing songs, and he is an amazing vocalist and performer, and I love him. And I hope that he had the best birthday. Hope he's getting my vibes from all the way here. I am going to close out Vlogmas day 4. I hope that you had fun rocking with me for today. Anyways, bye. See you tomorrow.